Good afternoon, hello boys and girls, and welcome to Critical English for grade 7 and grade 8. Today we're going to be working, just you and I, those of you who are viewing us live, and then we're going to continue with the narrative. So the last time we were here, we were talking about the characters, and if you were following, we said that the last time we looked at creating characters, and we looked at two specific things. We looked at archetype, which has to deal with a specific type of character, whether they're protagonist, antagonist, heroine, villain. And then we looked at the devil is in the detail. And under that, we looked at physical appearance and mannerism. And so that's what we needed to know. And we are joined by Shamar and Akila. Thank you for coming. I thought I was going to fly solo today. All right, so just give us a few minutes while our students get settled in. Thank you guys for coming. We had a rough week, huh? Yeah, I know. And then the sun isn't helping. So I have literally just begun, and I began by looking at what we did last week, archetypes. And we said archetypes are what? The range of characters that come over time, and whether these are heroes, what else? Villains, protagonists, antagonists, and so on. And then we looked at the devil is in the details, and we looked specifically at what? What we can see. What do we call that?
Physical appearance?
Yes, physical appearance, and then how they behave or their personality trait. Beginning with M. Giving you some prompt mannerism. All right, so you had some work for me, yes? You had some work for me. All right, so I want to put up my work on the board, and so you can see my stuff on the board. Right, and this is what I did. For my archetype, I selected a hero, so my character will be a hero, and I've titled my character Mr. French. And one of the character that I like, or the character that I'm going to compare Mr. French to, will be Superman. And both of them are physically fit, right? So we know how Superman is strong, and he flexes his muscles and so on. And then I looked at the difference. So unlike Superman, who has superpower, who's a super being, Mr. French is a natural human being. And I consider him to be a hero. And in other works where we see the hero, we have works like what? Spider-Man, Batman. Give me some work where you have heroes. Iron Man. Anything else? America. Captain America. All right, these are all different. Some of them are Marvel movie, yes. So, and then we were asked to write at least 2 paragraphs. One speaking to physical appearance, and then mannerism. So here are mine. Mr. French, a father to 2 little boys, is a muscular and robust man. So it should have man there. So let me put that in. Can we type it in? Oh, give me a minute. Oh, yes. All right, so give me a few seconds. All right. I was wondering why it looked funny. I didn't enable the editing. Still not getting it. Not sure why. All right. So we're going to move on. Is muscular, but I can work that way. Mr. French, a father of 2 little boys, is muscular and robust. His short black hair caresses his face and also complements his bright smile, which can definitely make anyone's day. Do you know anybody like this? Their smile can light up your day. Shamar, you walk into a room and you smile and everybody just smiled. Again, not you. What about you, Alio? No, you don't like smiling a lot. No. And so for mannerism, here is what I have. Daily, he goes to work and gives off his best. He ensures that all the shelves are stocked and the workers are polite to their customers. He stands up for those who are often bullied, like the vegans outside his store. So what is this telling us about Mr. French? That he's a really stand-up guy, yeah? And then we can see some of Superman qualities coming here, because of course Superman stands up for those who are bullied and who can't really help themselves. All right? So I wanted you to see how I did my stuff, and then you're going to send me your stuff so I can see what you did. Yes? Or that you're going to do, because we look like we had a really, really, really tough week. Yeah? I know. That's how it can go sometimes. So today, we are going to be looking at the setting. All right? There's some questions there, and let's talk about those questions. It says where, when, mood, atmosphere, and then where. So we have characters, because we established that we have characters, and the characters are what? The people or animal or things in our story. The people that makes things happen. But in order for these things to happen, there must be some space that it's happening. Isn't that so? Yes. So we account for that in where, and this accounts for the place, right? And so whether it's in the studio, like we are now, this is a place, right? And then we have when, and this accounts for time, whether it is 10 years ago, 10 years now, or we're writing our stories to happen 10 years into the future. All right? All of that is possible. It takes into account time. And then the mood. So the mood is linked to the place. So the mood is dependent on where it is happening, the place. All right, so let me show you how. So we're in an enclosed environment, and the AC is sort of up, right? Isn't that so? What happens?
Please get cold.
It gets cold, and what kind of mood it creates?
Freezing. Freezing,
Like a sort of cozy thing, isn't that so? Which creates a different sort of atmosphere, which has to do with internal emotions of our character. So if we are cold, how do you think we will feel emotionally? Will you be your best self? Or some, because there are people who like it when it rains. Yeah?
Yeah.
Anyone? So, Ali, you like when it rains?
Yeah.
You can get to sleep. Yeah. What about you, Shamar?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, and there's a note that says, the mood of a group of people can affect one another and create the atmosphere of the place. So, y'all said the AC is old now. The AC guy coming and changing the AC. We were using hypothetical, but thank you though. All right. So what? What's the note says? The mood of a group of people can affect one another. So if I come in and I'm very hostile towards you and I'm snapping at you, wouldn't that affect you, like emotionally?
Yeah.
And then, so I'm snapping at you and you're snapping at me, and what kind of atmosphere do we have?
Angry.
A hostile atmosphere, a hostile environment, right? Where people are yelling and barking, and what if I come in and I'm smiling at you? Usually, have you ever noticed that when people have bubbly personalities, it's like they come in and then they change the atmosphere of the room? Yeah, people have that effect. So the mood of a group of people can affect one another and create the atmosphere of a place. All right, so we go again to creating setting. How do we do that? The first thing we want to do is we want to assess the importance of setting in our story. What does that mean? What do you think that means, Alia?
Are we saying where it's been taking place?
Yeah, deciding where it's going to happen, whether it's going to be, more than one place, more than one places, or it's just going to be happening in this room, and whether it will be suitable. All right, so let's say we want to do one of these intergalactic setting, and we want to set it in this room. Would that be appropriate?
No.
Or unless we have the tech guys transform this green room into those outer space, into an outer space environment, and then it becomes appropriate or suitable. Isn't that so?
Yeah.
Right? So we have to consider the importance of setting to our story. We have to make sure that the place that we're going to set the story that we're going to write, the place that we're going to put our characters, they can function and they can evolve. Let's say, for instance, Superman. Can we put Superman underwater and put Superman to act what's his name, Aquaman movie? No, because then we will defeat the purpose. Yes, so the place where we are going to set it has to be something that we're thinking about in our heads, to make sure that the setting that where we're going to set the story, our characters can develop, and then we're going to talk about plot later on and how that will help to move the plot along, right? So setting is very important. Then we want to do what? We want to immerse in the senses. Now, this is a big one. What do you think this means, and why do we need to immerse in our senses?
So they can get like what you're feeling or what's happening.
Yeah. So we want our readers to feel a certain way, isn't that so? We want them to hear certain things. We want them to feel certain things. We want them to be able to see certain things. And in order for us to do that, we have got to pay great attention to the details in this setting, so as to create that environment within our story, so that our readers can transcend from the world that they're living in to the world of our story and feel like the setting has indeed brought the story alive. All right? And then we want to make sure, so when we talk about senses, we're talking about our sense of sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing, right? And then we want to make sure that there are certain words that we use that really bring. So if you want to describe a chocolate cake, what would you say?
You're describing the cake itself?
Or you want people to get that feeling that you're going to the chocolate to get a piece of chocolate cake.
You can see like it's delicious, it's freshly made.
Out of this world. And when you put it on your tongue, it feels so scrumptious and soft, and it just glides down your throat, right? It tastes like heaven. See what we're doing? What are we doing? Appealing to their sense of taste, right? What about sense of sight? If you want to describe a gruesome scene, like for instance, you want to describe an accident scene, what do you think you will? What are some of the words that you'll use?
Horrific accident.
And the bus turned, turtled over as it screeched, and body parts went flying through the window. Something is going off in 27 seconds. We all seem to be having our own days today. Yes, so when we use those type of words, we're appealing to the sense of sight, and blood was smearing all over the road. What happens there? It's as though our readers can do what? They can visualize, right? And if I tell you blood was all over the road. Can you picture it? Right? Can you picture body parts pitching out of the window, and the man was flown from the bus into the nearby trench? We can see those things happening as we read, isn't that so? Right, and so in order for us to draw our readers in, we have to be able to use our senses. All right? And then finally, we have to do research to bring authenticity. And in order for us to make our story authentic, we got to do some research, right? Like for instance, if we wanna write about an intergalactic scene. Do you know what that is?
Yes, right.
Yes. So tell me about what you would write off your hand. Like off your head, sorry.
Traveling through space.
Traveling through space, yeah.
Other planets.
Traveling through space, through wormholes, right? Those are contexts that are akin to intergalactic, and then different worlds with different species of animals or things. Yes, like for instance in Guardian of the Galaxy, right? Those are and in order for us to do that, we have to do research. So again, remember we said that this is not something that can happen just like that. When we are writing our story, unless we are writing it in our exam, in the classroom setting, you have time to go home and do your work, isn't that so? And in going home and do your work, you should go home and do some research on what you have to do, so that when you're researching, what are you gaining? Knowledge. And because you're gaining knowledge on the topic, you're able to better express yourselves. All right? So I have my sample, and then we're going to have you do your work, so we see how much you've done. Did we walk with books today? Yeah, good. All right, so let's read the sample. Josephine liked to stand just in front of her house, where the life of her papa's ranch was going on all around her. From here, she could smell the sharp scent of smoke from the kitchen fire. She could see cows and sheep grazing in the pastures. Yellow grass rolled all the way to the dark green trees on the foothills of mountains, and the mountains zigzag up to the sky. You could hear all the sounds of the ranch: chickens clucking, donkeys braying, dogs barking, birds chirping, workers hammering, and someone laughing. The sound seemed like music to Josephine. The wind joined in the music when it rustled the leaves on the cottonwood tree, and, as always, under it all was the murmur of the stream. All right, can you picture this place? Can you sort of see this place? Here. All right, is there anything that you can see? So let's see if we can identify any of the senses that are used here. Is there anything that you can see?
Yeah, the yellow grass.
Yellow grass. So, all right, so perhaps I asked the wrong question. Which of our senses do the passage appeal to? And then give me examples. So, yeah.
Smell.
Sense of smell.
Sight.
Sight, yeah.
Hearing.
Yes, excuse. Sense of sight, smell, and hearing. All right, let's go to the passage for examples now. Where do we see sense of smell?
It's kind of too small to see.
She can smell the
Scent of smoke from the kitchen fire. So We know that there is a fire going somewhere, probably on the farm, because it's a farm, a ranch, sorry, right? So she's able to smell that. And then what she can do, she can see. There are many things. In fact, this seems to be like a very scenic place. Have you ever been to Berbice?
Yes, miss.
And when you're traveling up, you see that these people have these lovely land, and some of them have some house, and then they have like the sort of like a ranch setup,
Yes.
right? And it's really nice. Somebody should invite me to Berbice to give me a piece of land up there so that I can live happy. Yes. And finally, which other sense is the passage appealing to?
Sense of sight.
We did sight, we did smell.
Hearing.
What are we hearing?
She could hear.
Chickens clucking, donkeys. So we can hear the chickens. We know what chickens sound like, right?
Yes.
And then donkeys braying. They're sort of one of the... How do you find them? I think they're one of the most annoying animals ever. And then the funny thing about them is that when one starts, it's just like they continue. Like they just pick up and then everybody goes, ah, rah, rah. Right? But we can hear those. What about dogs barking? We can hear those, right? Birds chirping, workers hammering. So we get a sense that a lot is happening in terms of what people are doing, all right? And then someone laughing. And underneath all of that. And the song seemed like what? Music to Josephine. She enjoys this. She enjoys coming out and looking out and see all of these things. Do you enjoy nature?
Yeah.
Or you prefer the city life? I know you guys are from the city. So what do you prefer?
Nature is not that bad.
Nature isn't... I said nature isn't that bad. What about you, Shamar?
Yes, I like nature.
You like nature. So if you had a choice to live between the city life or nature life, which would you choose?
I would choose the nature life because it's much more easy and relaxing.
Yeah, it's more easygoing. All right, and then of course we conclude with the music. Join in the music while it rustles the leaf on the trees of the cotton trees, and as always, so when all of this is done, you can still hear the stream in the background, like the water gushing through, right? And this seems to be a very peaceful place. Somebody should give me a space like this to live, right? Be my advocates, strong advocates for this. All right, so your task for the next 5 minutes is to write a setting where you appeal to, so you're picking anything, any setting, to put your character in. So you have to appeal to your senses, all right? We're going to leave the research for you to be able to do that over the weekend. And then, so appeal to your senses. So you have to decide what are they going to hear? What are they going to see? Are they going to be smelling anything? Is it going to be a factory where, you hear all of these noise? Is it going to be in the middle of a day, right? Where the cars are honking? That sort of setting. So select something of your choosing and then write at least 5 sentences utilizing the senses. So it must be connected. All right? I'm giving you 5 minutes and then we wrap up.
So we're using all 5 of the senses.
So what are we going to hear? What are we going to see? What are we going to feel, right? Smell. Taste might be a little bit far-reaching, but you can try it still to see how that works. Okay? from the AC. All right, so let me see what you guys are doing so far. All right. All right, I like what I'm seeing so far. All right, you have a minute remaining. All right, so let's hear what you have. So you get to practice at home, and you can of course you can always send them to me so I can check them. So let's hear what you have. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. It was a dark night in my hometown, New York. I just arrived from my vacation in the nature of Guyana. I had a tour of the country, sea and regions with lakes to swim, trees to climb, fruits on every tree in sight, and they taste so good. The mountain air felt so good. I had to do hearing.
So what you did, you identified what senses did you appeal to?
Sight.
Sight, because we can see, and then you said you climbed, and all of that, yeah.
Yes.
So sense of touch.
Taste.
Taste, because you spoke about the fruits that you enjoy. Yes. So good job, and do continue to keep writing. Let's hear what you have, Alia.
As I walked down the creepy dark hall, all I could hear was the floor creaking and children laughing. As I reached for the door handle, the door slowly opened as I walked inside. I didn't get to finish.
Oh wow, that's deep, Alia. You do a lot of horror movies, I assume. Yes. All right, you're already creeping me out because I don't do horror movie, but really, really, really good in terms of. I think Shane, we can agree that we sort of felt spooky, right, coming out from Alia's work. So good job, guys. So we see how important it is to be able to use our senses to create the setting that where we're going to put our characters, right? So what are the three things that we looked at today as we wrap up? We looked at what? First and foremost, we looked at assessing the importance of setting to our story, and this is in the sense that we have to know where the story is happening and when it's happening, and we have to make sure that the when and the where that we have selected will be suitable so that our characters can fully develop. Yes? And then we must be able to immerse in the senses, in the sense that we must be able to use language that appeal to the senses of our readers. And then finally, in order for us to be able to do all of that, we got to do some research so that we can understand. So if we want to talk about, like for instance, Ali did a spooky, scary scene, right? If I didn't know anything about that, I'll have to go and read. Isn't that so? Yeah. So like how Ali is writing so nicely about this spooky scene, which is already creeping me out because I'm not a fan of horror. And then she's talking about children laughing, and she didn't touch the doorknob, but it already opened by itself, right? But all of these, in order for me to be able to do that, I would have to go and do some research. So because when we do research, we gain
More
knowledge so that we can be better writers. All right, well, that's all the time that we have today. Thank you, Shamar, and thank you, Ali, for coming. And thank you, public, for joining us today. We will see you on Friday, but please stay tuned for math, which is coming up soon. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Good afternoon again, students. Once again for critical mathematics. And first thing we're going to do for this afternoon is a little bit of your homework that you had to do. So I'm going to share my screen, and from the given sums that were given, you're going to pick two. Any two? Two different ones? Okay. Not such easy ones. Anyhow, you'll take two, and when you pick your two, you're going to be the one that is going to be putting it on the board. We have the two already?
Oh, T.
Okay, no problem. Come out. Yes? Yes. So you do your two, and then Shamar will come and do his two. Oops. Yes. Okay, Shamar, do you agree?
Yes,
A plus 5, given the fact that A is equal to 7. So you'll have 7 plus 5 equal to 12, okay? Excellent. Pick the other one. All right, too small. Continue that. Shamar, you prepare yours, right? Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Aliyah. Shamar, do you agree? So we have 4e minus 45, where e is equal to 15. So we have 45 by 15 will give you 60, and then she minus the 45 from 50. The 45 that gives you 15. Do you agree? All right. I'm going to write it a little different than that. We have 4e minus 45, and we know we were given e is equal to 15, agree?
Yes.
So we have 4 multiplied by 15, we can put the multiply or the bracket, minus the 45. 4 by 15 would give you 60, minus 45. 60 minus 45 will give you 15. So it was correct. However, try to avoid setting it down how you had it, because in actuality, you had 4 multiplied by 15 is equal to 60 minus 35. 4 multiplied by 15 cannot be equal to 60 minus 45, right? So you try to set it down just how you were given. 4 by e minus 45 and keep coming down, right? So better luck next time. Come, Shamar. And please correct this one if you had it any other way. Over there. All right, so we can safely say that C is equal to 3 and D is equal to 8? All right, no problem. Let's, for the sake of time, we'll just take this one for you. Thank you. So we would have included the value of C, which is equal to 3, plus the value of D equal to 8. So 3 plus 8 will give you 11. All right, so that was just actually to recap what we would have done from your last class. And let's go what we intend to do for today. So we're looking at laws of indices. Same algebra. And what algebra deals with?
Expressions of numbers.
Numbers and?
Variables.
And give me the other word for variables. Not variables. Algebra speaks of? You can't remember? Letters, alphabet. Right? So, read for me, Shamar.
What you should know. Indices is the plural of index. The index of a number is its power. A number written in index form looks like this.
Good. So the number written in index form, you have 3 to the 5th power. And we know from what we would have learned earlier that the 3 represent the base, right? And then you have the index or the power or the exponent, right? As we would call them. So your numbers for indices will most likely look like a number and a power, or a letter and a power. Read, Aliyah.
Why learn about the laws of indices? The laws of indices enable expressions involving powers to be manipulated more efficiently.
All right, thank you very much. So let's look at the example. We have 3 to the 4th power. And 3 to the 4th power is just like writing 3 multiplied by 3, multiplied by 3, multiplied by 3. And when we expand it and we do the multiplication, our answer will be 81. 3 by 3, 3 multiplied by 3 is?
9.
9 by 3, 9 3s, 27. And then 27 by 3 will give us the 81, right? So that is how, from expansion, expanding our indices. So let's look at this example. Shamar?
Law 1. When multiplying numbers with the same base, write back the base and add the power.
All right, so if you look at the x to the m power, the m represents any number or any value. Multiply, remember I told you earlier that the dot can mean multiply. Multiply by x to the nth power. So we have the same bases and we have different power. It doesn't matter the power. So what we do, we use the same base and we add the powers. So you would have m plus n. Agree? Good. So let's look at the example. You have 2 to the 6th power multiplied by 2 to the 3rd power. So there's where we have the same base. So we write back the 2 and we have the power as 6 and 3. What do we do with the power? We add the power. So 2 to the 6 plus 3 power. When we add it, we will get 2 to the 9th power. And we can do the same expansion and calculate the value at the end. So we would have 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, 9 times. And when we multiply all of those numbers, we will get 512. So we have another example at the bottom. 8 to the 2nd power multiplied by 3 to the 3rd power.
Miss, 8 to the 3rd power.
8 to the 3rd power, to the 2nd power, multiplied by 8 to the 3rd power. Thank you. So, same base, we write back the base and add the powers. 2 plus 3, we would get 8 to the 5th power. And then we can write it the other way by showing the expansion. 8 multiplied by 8, multiplied by 8, multiplied by 8, multiplied by 8. That is 5 times. So it's 8 to the 5th power. We can also go on and multiply it and get a final answer. Right? Like how we did the one with 2 to the 9th power. Are we following?
Yes.
Copy the rule and copy the example in 2 minutes. So while you're copying, remember, we're multiplying index. We're looking for the same base to add the powers. If we do not have the same base, we cannot add the powers. If we do not have the same base, we cannot add the powers. So you must have the same base when you're multiplying to add their powers. Right, so you need to be careful with that. Must have the same base to add the powers in multiplication. Remember also the dot signifies multiplication in mathematics. So despite there isn't a multiplication sign and there is a dot, it means the same thing. Soon as you finish, please say I.
Write the 8 1 2, right?
Yes, we can take that after. All right, so we can continue now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So we just took the example. We're going to do some exercise now. And remember I said to you, same base, add power. If it's not the same base, you cannot put the powers together. So the first one, let's go. We have 2 to the third power multiply by 2 to the fourth power. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Good. So what we need to recognize first,
The base.
if the base are alike, are they?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
So now that we know the base are alike, what would we do with the powers?
We
We can add
add
them.
We can add the power. So what is the base?
2,
And the powers are
3,
3
plus
at
4.
4.
plus 4. 3 plus 4,
2 to the 7th power.
2 to the 7th power. Right? And we can go on to expand. If I'm to expand, what do I write?
2
2,
Times
2.
times
2.
2 times.
Am I finished?
1.
One more?
Yes,
Wait.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Good. So let's multiply. 2 twos,
4.
4 twos,
8,
6.
16,
4 twos.
4, 2.
Yeah.
8.
8 twos,
16,
16 twos.
5, 6, 7, 16 times 2.
32,
32 twos,
64,
64 twos.
128.
Very well. Great. So you would have just completed our laws of indices, multiplication, using the same base, adding the power. You have your law here, giving your index number, and then we can expand it to find the true value. Right? So copy that quickly. We think we follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Remember to look for the same base. When you're multiplying, you can add the power. Okay, great. So let's look at the other one quickly. Please call some out for me.
A to the second power
8 to the second power,
times 8 to the fourth power.
8 to the fourth power. What we need to look for?
The base, if the base are the same.
Same base?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Are they same base?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So what we need?
We need to add the.
What we need to write first?
A.
A. And then what we doing with the power?
Add them.
Add them.
2 plus 4,
Giving us?
6.
6.
I'm ahead of time. Giving us 6. Can we do anything else with the letter A? No, we don't know the value of A. So we can leave the answer like that. So we finish here.
Yes.
Right? Take this quickly. Let's look at the last one.
Finish.
Why these covers are falling off. All right, great. Let's look at the last one there.
3A to the second power, B to the third power, times 4A to the fourth power, and B to the fifth power.
Great. Now what you notice with this one here?
They have 2 variables.
You have 2 variables. What else?
The bases are different.
Bases are different. What else? What else they have? You have coefficients.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So what do we do with the coefficients? We do it as normal. Good? Multiplying 3 by 4. Now A, what do we do with the A?
Add
Add the powers, and what are the powers for A?
2 and
Two.
4.
2 plus 4. And then we have b. What are the powers for b?
3 plus
Plus
5.
5.
Great. 3 fours?
12.
12.
12. 2 plus 4?
6.
6. 8.
Great. Can't do anything else. So this is complete. Copy. Think we following multiplication?
Yes.
We have different variables, so we cannot take the powers from A with the power from B. We have to look for the powers from A's, the A's, and then we have to look for the powers from the B's. Right? We multiply the coefficient or the numbers as normal. Good, so look at the screen. So we're going on to the division law, where same thing applies with a little twist. Same base, when we're dividing, what do we do with the power?
We subtract them.
We subtract the power. So when we multiplying, what do we do?
Add.
And when we are dividing,
Subtract.
great. What we do when we multiplying?
Add.
And when dividing?
Subtract.
Good, so we have a division there. 2 to the 4th power divided by 2 to the 4th power. So, 2 to the 4th power minus the 4th power. What we will get? 2 to the 0 power. And in the expansion form, we have 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 divided by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. And if we work it out, how we know how to cancel down the numbers, when we work out the top and we work out the bottom, we will find that our answer will be 1. Right? So let's look at working. Let's go. Copy the first one. Shamar, you do the first one. Akil, Alia, you will do the second one. And you just give me the answer. I will place it on the board. Say aye if you're ready for me, Shamar.
I miss.
All right, great. Let's go.
Okay, so first, since the bases are different, we have to divide them.
Okay. So what do I write?
6 divided by 3.
6 divided by 3. Uh-huh.
The variables, or is that the coefficient?
The variables.
Variables
Uh-huh.
are the same, so be x and 7 subtracted by 3.
Great. So 6 divided by 3 would give you
2.
2. And 7 minus 3.
5.
7 minus 3.
4.
4. Agree, Alia?
Yes, yes, miss.
All right. So he would have recognized that we have coefficients that we need to work with for us. And then we have the same variable. So we can use the rule where we subtract the power. Agree? Great. So this is complete. We have this copied already?
No, no, no.
Then you'll give me your sum.
I.
Right, great. So let's go for the other one. Thank you.
15y to the 9th power divided by 5y to the 3rd power.
Great, let's go.
15 divided by 5 outside. we have y 9 minus 3.
15 divided by 5 would give you
3.
3, because 5 into 15 you will get 3. Y
6.
6. Agree, Shamar?
Yes, miss.
So this is complete. We cannot do anything else. This is the lowest we can go because we don't know the value of y to do any other expansion. Right? So both persons got that? Great. So what we're going to do, first of all, you're going to let me know so I can take this off, right? So rule 1 states what?
When multiplying numbers. When multiplying numbers with the same base, write back the base and add the powers.
Good. So I have a base. So I write back the base. And what do I do with the powers?
Add.
I add the powers. So what would be the answer?
Z to the 5th power.
5th power. Great. Division.
So I would guess it'd be when dividing numbers with the same base, write back the base and subtract the powers.
Subtract the powers. So we have R to the
0 power or 1.
1.
1 power. But we don't have to put 1 there, right? If you put 1, nothing wrong, but you can leave it out because it means the same thing. Right? So just remember, must look for the same base where you can add the power when you're multiplying, or when you're dividing, same base, you subtract the power. So just to wrap up, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be giving you a combination. Yes, a combination. So 6m to the 4th power multiply by 3m to the 2nd power n to the 4th power divided by let's see, 3.
Something hard.
Let's change it up. 3 to the nth to the square power multiply by 2 to the m to the 5th power. Now remember, the line means division too. So let's do it together. What do you think we should do at the top?
6. M.
6m.
The bases are different, so we'll have to multiply it.
So we multiply 6 and 3.
Yes, miss.
Uh-huh.
M.
M.
The two variables are m before plus 2
Uh-huh.
and n and 4.
N and 4. Great. And the bottom?
Since they are the same, it is not same, there'll be 3 multiplied by 2
Yes.
N
to the 2nd
to the
power.
power and M to the 5th.
Great. We can't do anything like with this. So what do we get?
6 times 3, 18.
18,
M 4 plus 2 is 6.
6.
And put back the n 4.
Good. And
3 times 2 is 6.
6.
And put back the N square and the M.
Great. But we're not finished. What do you notice about the numbers?
They can divide.
6 can go into 18. So 6 into 18?
3.
6 into 18?
3.
3. What letter we have?
M.
And what does this line means?
Division.
Division. So don't we have an M and an M?
Yes.
So what do we do with the powers?
We subtract.
Subtract the powers. Good. And the N, the same thing. Which one first?
Um.
N 4.
4.
Mine.
Great. So what would be our final answer?
3.
3 to the M
To,
N.
and N.
to the 2nd power.
Great. Right? So despite we didn't use the division sign, we know that this implies that it's a division. So you use the same rule. Observe that the one at the top is where you're multiplying, and the division line means that you're dividing the bottom. So you use the same rule as same base, subtract the power. Right? So I would hope for this afternoon session, you would have learned two rules, rule 1 and 2, multiplying of indices and division of indices, where when you have the same base, you add the powers when you're multiplying. And when you're dividing and the same base, you subtract your powers. And remember, this line represents division. So despite it's not a division sign you're seeing, it still means divide, right? So you will be getting some homework as usual, and I pray that you do follow through with the homework so that you can get some more practice. Everything okay for this afternoon?
Yes,
Do we understand?
yes,
Could we do several more if we had to?
yes,
All right. You do have a blessed afternoon and enjoy. Good afternoon and see you on Friday.